Good morning, everyone. I'm Caspen, and I'm a proud Darug person, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Yagara and Turrbal people, and pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. I'd like to extend that respect to all Indigenous people here with us today. To start, I'd like to ask everyone a question, and if you're comfortable to do so, raise your hand if it applies to you. And I want to see your hands really, really high, okay? Who currently has or has ever had a favorite teacher, and this includes any educator in their life? That is a lot of hands, and we love to see it. Okay, hands down. Thank you. I know I definitely have, as I raised my hand, and I can tell you that those teachers have made my schooling immensely better. One of my favorite teachers, my film teacher, loves listening to my rants, my odd movie suggestions, and even open up a space where our class can suggest films or any media that we find interesting, and it reaches the whole class, including the teacher. In her class, I'm understood, and being understood means I'm confident to learn. Unfortunately, I've seen too many kids my age and younger who aren't being understood, and so they aren't learning the way that they need. When COVID came, made us all suffer monotonous Zoom calls, this was, for a lot of schools, a wake-up call about how they can connect with their students through the use of technology. So they threw everything at it. And I mean everything. My school had Zoom parties, endless amounts of online checkups, and one of my assignments was even about Among Us, way after the game was popular. Now, I'm not discrediting any of those decisions made by my school because technology drives us more than ever. That's very clear. But this being translated now in 2024 in an in-person learning environment, sitting down and learning content on a laptop or an iPad with little to no communication with a teacher is no longer really in-person learning. This is why we're seeing so many alternative schooling options that revolve around at-home learning or online learning. Why would students choose to show up to an in-person high school with practically no physical learning or teaching if online learning was readily available at home to them? So many high schoolers have transitioned to alternative schooling because of this simple factor, and these schools are now having to cater to a way larger influx of students than they had ever planned to. So what can Queensland public high schools do? Well, they've started the Phone Away for the Day system, which is frankly too new to comment on any real changes, but I haven't heard too many compliments among the sea of complaints yet. But let's say results come back and our disconnection has started reconnecting students and teachers. This still doesn't account for the arguably overuse of computers and iPads within schools. If anything, it reinforces that connection with other technology. If what the current curriculum of learning is producing is turning into a negative use of technology, we need to change that perspective into a positive one for everyone involved. This shouldn't mean getting rid of technology, but rather utilizing it in a way that benefits teachers and students in the classroom. Examples of this are an online forum. The forum would be monitored, censored, and only open when a school chose. Students would be able to respond to questions or voice concerns about any issues they are having, and they would choose to do so anonymously, or not. Topics raised or questionnaires would not be seen by other students unless prompted by the school on occasions such as polls for different events, or their top concerns, reinforcing that student voice. Now, this isn't the solution. It isn't going to magically change how students view their learning, and I'm well aware there are already online forums that are being used or currently being shown in schools. But the key issue that we're missing here is that it's not being used in a way that is benefiting students. I've only seen it being used to benefiting schools and teachers. Why can't it be both? Kids need to be understood to be confident to learn. There can be general census-style questions that allow a school to understand their students as a whole, as well as questionnaires for individual students' needs in a classroom during the day. Remember what I said about my film class? Students get to put in their requests for movies, short films, any media, a collaborative space to share, anonymously or not. And I've only heard positive things. We need to connect and support the ever-growing use of technology within education, and to do so positively. We can't do this if we get rid of it entirely or heavily rely on its use to teach all of our content. There needs to be a middle ground that benefits everyone and supports students through the high school learning journey. In my classes, I am understood, which means I am confident to learn. Kids need to be understood to be confident to learn. Are you confident to learn? Thank you.